Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Ham Nation is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This episode of Ham Nation is brought to you by Ting.com. Ting is a mobile phone service that makes sense. Save money with Ting. Pay only for what you use. Ting doesn't require a contract and offers unlimited devices on one shared plan. To save $25 on your first Ting device, visit hamnation.ting.com. That's hamnation.ting.com. And by ICOM. For more information, visit icomamerica.com/hamnation. And by DX Engineering. DX Engineering offers practically everything you need to outfit your shack, plus the fastest shipping in the industry. In-stock items ship the same day, Monday through Friday until 10 p.m. Eastern. For more information, visit dxengineering.com/hamnation.
This is Ham Nation, episode number 136 for February 26, 2014. DX Engineering acquires Cycle 24 antenna. Good evening, everybody. We're in the Ozarks. I love it. Weather's good. It's cold, but it's not snowing. This is Bob Heil, K9EID, and we have our regular host of Fun Time Dudes tonight, and one dudette. Big news, big news. First of all, Gordon, I got a call from Leo a while ago, and we have the date and the time that Ham Nation will be on from Dayton. So what we want to do is have everybody get your calendar out. Take your big marker and mark May the 17th, okay? Now, please do this. It's 11 o'clock out there Pacific. It's 10 o'clock. You know what I mean. Okay, we're going to do it at 11 o'clock Pacific. It'll be I think he's got about 160 radio stations that will be on. So you want to mark that with your big marker. I know some of you are going to do this thing on here too. We'll have to do that. So big news, right, Gordo? We're going to be broadcasting from Dayton again this year.
Oh, that's terrific. And, we'll have all of our net controllers likely there. And it's great that we can all get on the air and spread the word about ham radio to the literally millions of AM and FM broadcast station listeners throughout the country.
Yeah, we'll have George there. George, are you going to bring your soldering iron with you this year? Or what you going to do?
I'm either going to bring it. I didn't get through TSA with it last year, or I'll just have to pick up one on site. One way or another, we'll do some soldering. It's cold down here again, Bob. We really had a week or two of nice warm weather in the 70s or near that, but it's making up for it tonight. We're back in the 20s again here, so I will have the soldering iron on later tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's been cold. Well, I tell you what, let's see. Let's go listen to what Gordo, he's got some really good stuff going on. Let's go see what Costa Meda's got for us. Go ahead, Gordo, and we'll be listening.
Okay, thanks, Bob. And I'm very happy to say that the state of California, all of the West Coast is getting a good incoming rain shower. So we're ready. We've got our rain slickers on, and we're expecting 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 inches of rain to one of the driest many years that Southern California has had. And it's good timing because this weekend they're having an emergency communicators meeting up in Sacramento. They're bringing in CERT as well as an antenna expert and Dennis A. of 6TR. So it's going to be a big deal. And up in that neck of the woods, I'm very happy to report UC Berkeley Amateur Radio Club, 100 years old. Congratulations. Also this weekend, Richard at Main Trading in Paris, Texas says he's got some electronic surplus overstock stuff that he wants to let go. So at a good deal. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff in Texas, head on over to MTC. This is also the Limark Amateur Radio Club, their big get-together in Hicksville, New York, and that's Sunday, March 2nd. And Gene, KJI, and his team will be there, plus 40 others at Leventon Hall. So it looks like, even Kentucky having a Ham Fest. K1AG says their Kentucky Ham Fest is on March 1st. And then the weekend after next, Bob, a lot of things going on, but the Greene County Ham Fest in Claremore, Oklahoma. Now, Bob, aren't you going to be there thanks to Mark KB0MOF with Ham Radio Center? You're going to be there, Bob?
Yep, I am, and I'm looking forward to it. Going to do some workshops there, and I understand from this talking with Tim this afternoon, Tim Duffy's going to be there, so we're really excited about that. And that's always a great ham fest in Oklahoma. So, yeah, we're looking forward to having good times there, Joe. I think we're going to be there maybe even 3 days. I'm not sure yet, but 2 days for sure. Friday and Saturday is the ham fest, and looking forward to it, Gordo.
Oh, wow. That's terrific. And also that same weekend, March 7th and 8th, the Mike and Key Club has their big get-together up in the Pacific Northwest. That's a great radio club. Charlotte Ham Fest in North Carolina. I've been there at that one, and that's always a good one. So we encourage all of you to take in a Ham Fest and see what's happening with new gear and old gear, and also to find out some of the news. Now, listen, I've got news for you. If you're worried about your issue of CQ magazine still being the December issue, and where is January and February? Well, here's the deal. January and February for all CQ magazine subscribers is on the internet, and you should have been sent information on how to access January, February. Dick Ross says that they're going to send out the paper copies of CQ magazine January, February, probably in a few more weeks, early March. And then the March-April issue is going to be combined so they can catch up, and that way you'll see their smiling faces at Dayton, Ohio. Now, for those of you that read my columns in Popular Communications as well as World Radio, those issues are now e-issues called CQ Plus. So we hope that you'll tune in to CQ Magazine. They're alive and very well, but they're changing as to how they're going to be presenting the magazines to the readers. But CQ will always remain a paper publication. Now, here's big news. In Southern California, we're all getting ready for the incoming rainstorm, and everybody's got their handhelds. We've got the Chinese handhelds, the ones in Taiwan, the wonderful ICOM, Kenwood, Yaesu, and Alenco radios. We're finding many of the emergency groups are pre-programming the handhelds for their volunteers, specifically for their station, and they're putting the frequencies in alphanumerics. This is a problem, and I encourage those of you that work with your club in programming frequencies, get off the alphanumerics, because if we have a mutual aid and I go into your city and you'll say, Gordo, you got to tune into our Blue Chartreuse Channel 4. Blue Chartreuse, what's the frequency? And many times, if it's a new operator, they do not have the capabilities to go from alphanumerics over to frequency. So give them frequencies right off the bat, pre-store them, especially in some of these imported radios just coming in at ridiculously low prices. I mean, $50, $100 for a dual band radio. Don't leave them in the alphanumeric mode, because in an emergency, if we need to say, let's meet you up on 146.550 simplex, if they're in the alpha memory mode, some of these radios that are coming in from overseas at ridiculously low prices are tough to get into the VFO mode, and even more tough to pre-program a subaudible tone. So I encourage those of you that are working with emergency groups, wean them off of the alphanumerics, so that in an emergency, if you say we've got to go now from 146.55 to 146.58, they'll have the capability of going into VFO and going up a couple of kilohertz, 10 or 20 or 30 kilohertz, to get to the frequency that they're going to be operating on. So something to think about. We have one of our radio viewers out there that just scored a Signal 1. Remember that radio, Bob? Signal 1. He says he's got everything but a 24-pin male plug and the 14-pin accessory plug. So if anybody's got spare parts for a Signal 1, get a hold of me, Gordo, WB6NOA at ARRL.net, and I'll guide you to the party that wants to get his Signal 1 on the air. And finally, speaking of magazines, again, great issue of QST magazine. We encourage all of you to join the American Radio Relay League. I'm saddened that I don't hear more about our show over their magazine or at Hamfest, where they're leading the Hamfest. But nonetheless, I encourage everybody to join the American Radio Relay League and get them to pay attention to us, Ham Nation, because we pay attention to those of you that are valued users, our viewers, and our radio operators, and especially our advertisers. So, Bob,
Thanks.
That's the story at this end. And now back to you, Bob.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I am so happy that things will continue at CQ Magazine. Golly, it's a great publication, and that's all good news. Along with our Dayton news that Leo brought us, and Leo also was mentioning that Ham Nation's become one of his top shows here on Twit, and we're so grateful to all of the viewers and the listeners. We can't thank you enough. But it all happens, everybody, because you support those that support this program. It does cost Leo a fortune to keep this all going. One of those is online with us, and he's got some great news. Tim Duffy. Tim from DX Engineering, how are you tonight?
Tim.
Hey, Bob, Gordo, and George. Good to see everybody here this evening. And yes, we do have some good news, Bob. You know, in amateur radio, good news is all around, and you just have to look up and down the bands and under a few rocks, and you find some good news. So we're very excited to have some good news for you tonight.
And you have plenty of stations there to listen to all this news. You're at K3LR tonight, the big time contest station. Didn't you guys just win another big contest?
We did, Bob. It was the ARRL CW International DX contest. A few weeks ago, we operated from here. We had 12 operators in the multi category, and we had a great time for 48 hours. And, conditions have never been better. And at least in the last 11 years or so. So we're real excited about that. But tonight, today we announced a real strategic acquisition for DX Engineering. And as you know, DX Engineering is a longtime supporter of Ham Nation, and we're really just thrilled to be involved with you and Gordo and George and Don. Just a fantastic thing that all of you guys are doing for amateur radio. So, but DX Engineering continues to grow. And today we announced that we have acquired Cycle 24, which is a company that was owned by N5DX and K5GO, Stan and Kevin Stockton out of Arkansas. And we've moved all the inventory to Talmadge, Ohio. And we're now selling the whole line of Cycle 24 clamps. We have the WRTC 2014 Tribander, the TX38, and you're going to be hearing more and more about that here in future shows about the TX38 Tribander. And we're also selling the EA4TX rotor control that Cycle 24 also carried. And of course, we have much more aluminum tubing now. So this is great. Stan and Kevin ran a terrific business, very customer focused like DX Engineering. So we're very excited to carry on the Cycle 24 tradition right from the headquarters of DX Engineering.
Oh, that is great. And
yeah,
Tim,
that's really great.
To take advantage of 10 meters and even 6 meters. Hawaii works on 6 meters, a station in Europe on 6 meters, and of course 10 meters out here to the West Coast to all of Europe for the last couple of days. Pretty exciting conditions, huh, Tim?
It's very exciting, Gordo. And this is This is what HF operators and a lot of the new operators, especially technician class operators that can get on 10 meters and really experience this worldwide propagation with simple antennas and low power. And this coming weekend is another great opportunity because it's the ARRL Phone International DX Contest. Yeah. And so I expect that the HF phone bands will just be packed with activity.
Oh, sure will. Okay, Tim, here's Bob again. Bob, go ahead.
Well, this is all good news, and I'm excited about hearing from Doug Grant next week, who is the big cheese at the WRTC, and we're going to have him on to let everybody know about the Olympics of ham radio. You know, Olympics is a big deal right now coming out of Russia, but the WRTC is the Olympics of ham radio, and I'm really excited to have him with us next week. And of course, you have been a huge part of that also. But as I understand it, is it true, Tim, that Cycle 24, they're building a special antenna for all those competitive stations? Is that right?
That's right. It's the Cycle 24 TX38, and it's actually made by 2X Arrays, is the manufacturer of the antenna now. But all 65 of those TX38 tri-band antennas that are going to be used by the WRTC 2014 stations are already on their way to Boston. And so Stan and Kevin got all of those completed. And in fact, they had some of them up there last summer. They tested several of the tri-banders. And I've actually used the TX38 twice on field day from Oklahoma. Tremendous antenna. And we'll have that antenna in stock here in a few weeks in Talmadge, Ohio. And so if somebody sees that antenna and says, hey, I want to play just like the WRTC guys, the TX38 can be on their door in a few days.
Oh, that's great. That's great news. Well, thanks a lot for coming on here so quickly. When I learned about this today, you're always right there for Ham Nation, and we appreciate that. And we wish you good luck in the next contest. And you and I will be together in Claremore this weekend. You're going to make that Ham Fest also, correct?
That's right. That's the Green Country Ham Fest. And next to Ham Holiday, which you and I were at last July, which is fabulous ham fest in Oklahoma City. You and I will be in Claremore, Oklahoma at the Green Country Ham Fest, and that'll be the weekend after this. So I'm looking forward to seeing you there, Bob, and I know there's several other people that'll be coming in. It's a very nice venue and a great ham fest, and I'm really looking forward to it, Bob.
Yeah, I am too. Well, thank you very much. And we're excited to hear about the news. And of course, that's a wonderful antenna. And now with your backing and marketing, why we'll be able to get some really fabulous signals on the air, and it won't cost very much money. So we're happy about that. We'll see you next weekend in Oklahoma, Tim. Have a nice flight, travel safe, and keep those ICOMs all warmed up behind you, okay?
That sounds good, Bob. 73 to all the Ham Nation crew and all the listeners, and thanks for all the support of DX Engineering.
All right. That's great. That's great. Well, we'll give you a report from Oklahoma next week and let you know what's going on down there. Well, I think what we ought to do right now is see what we got from Ting. They've got some great products for us, and here we are. Hi, Don. How are you?
I am better than ever. Man, that's exciting news about DX Engineering and the new antenna line. We're going to talk a little bit more about DX Engineering a little bit later on in the show, but right now let's talk about Ting and cell phones. Everybody has a cell phone these days, and you know that the less BS you have with your cell phone provider, the better. And that's exactly what Ting is. Ting is a no BS mobile service provider. Actually, they're not really a provider. They're an MVNO. That's a fancy way of saying they resell the nationwide Sprint network. And you can have unlimited devices on one plan. That's what makes Ting different, among a bunch of other things I'm going to tell you about. Have as many devices as you want on one plan. You share the pooled minutes, messages, and megabytes. Every device on your plan just costs a flat $6 a month. But here is the cool part. The rates just got better. Yeah, you can save a ton of money with Ting, and now you can save even more because Ting received a better pricing from Sprint. and they want to share the savings direct with you, the customer. Nothing fancy, just better rates, lower monthly bills. That's what it's all about right there. And if you've already tried Ting's savings calculator to see how much you could save with Ting, it is well worth your while to do it again. See just how much you could be saving. And as always, Ting has no contracts. You pay only for what you use each month, with your megabytes, your messages, and your minutes all billed separately. And there are no wacky add-ons. Your voicemail, caller ID, tethering, hotspot, three-way calling, call forwarding. All the features are all part of the service. No add-on charges. It is truly and completely contract-free and no early termination fees. They'll even give you credit if you have to pay an early termination fee to come to Ting. They'll give you a 25% credit on your ETF, up to $75 per device just for coming to Ting. Ting.com/ETF has all the details. And you won't find any weird alphabet soup on that bill either. No weird, mysterious line items. You get charged only for what you use, plus whatever taxes that Ting is legally required to collect. No hidden charges, no recovery fees, no other BS. And the most amazing online account control panel ever. You take total control of your account. You see your usage, your bills. You can control it all with a powerful online control panel. And should you ever need to talk to a human being, you do just that. 855-TING-FTW is available anytime, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And a real live, actual happy person will pick up the phone and talk to you. And you're going to love it. Help.ting.com has active customer support forums as well. Simple and powerful help ticketing system, video tutorials, video startup guides. Everything you need is right there with Ting. Here's how it works. You purchase your mobile device from Ting. You'll get that in 2 to 5 business days. Or if you have an older Sprint phone, your favorite Sprint phone you want to bring over to Ting, you can do that. Like if you have an iPhone 4 or 4S you're not quite ready to get rid of, you can use that for Ting. You see the full list of eligible phones by going to the show special URL. Click on the BYOD, bring your own device link at the top of the page. They'll even help you turn your old device into cash to help with the move to Ting. After you activate with Ting, you'll have the option to select your new phone number, port your existing one. Either way, your minutes will be broken out, your text messages, your megabytes, all broken out separately, and they will bill you at the end of the month for what you use and nothing more. It's great. You're going to love it. Go to hamnation.ting.com today. Save money. Better manage your mobile phone usage with Ting. Check out the savings calculator. See how much you or your company can save with Ting. And because you're a loyal Ham Nation viewer, we want to reward that loyalty with $25 off your first Ting device. How's that sound, huh? You got to have a cell phone. You may as well save money. I got an unsolicited report, actually, from a Facebook friend of mine that said they switched over to Ting, and they're saving $150 a month. I'm not kidding you. Hand to my heart, $150 a month they're saving. And that was before the lower rate, so they may even be saving more. But that's how you do it. hamnation.ting.com. Thank you, Ting, for your support of Ham Nation. We do appreciate you. Let's check out the news of the week now with Amateur Radio Newsline. From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 1906, these are the Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, February 26, 2014. China's Jade Rabbit lunar rover is not dead after all. Its signal's been heard and confirmed by a UK radio amateur. Bill Pasternak, WA6ITF, has the details.
The Jade Rabbit rover was launched as part of China's Chang 3 mission to the moon last December 1st. On December 14th, the Chang 3 landed on the moon with its first signals copied at UHF SATCOM around 1718 UTC the same day. The Jade Rabbit lunar rover was then deployed with its transmitter activated and signals detected on 8462.080 megahertz, running in the low-rate BPSK mode. The rover functioned well until the lunar nighttime set in. The mission's Command Control Center was expecting the rover to contact Earth on February 12th after it had endured its second lunar night. Since it did not transmit any signals, the rover was officially declared permanently inoperative. But on the same day, a signal from the Jade Rabbit was heard by a ham radio operator in the United Kingdom. Paul Marsh, G7EYT, who also holds the call M0EYT, reported detecting the rover on 8462.078 megahertz. This has brought new hope to China's command control personnel that the overall mission just might be saved.
Quite an accomplishment for ham radio, especially after those in command of the project seem to think that all might be lost. The complete story of how the Jade Rabbit was found, along with spectral pictures of the Chang mission, is at the URL in this week's printed Amateur Radio Newsline report. The on-the-air portion of the Amsterdam Island FT5ZMD expedition has come to an end, but the job of sending out QSL cards remains. During its stay, the DXpedition team logged on the order of 170,000 contacts on single sideband CW and RTTY. Amsterdam Island has been the 7th most sought-after DXCC entity according to the Club Log Most Wanted list. Spring is coming, and we have a story that underlines just how important safety is when working on your antennas. A tower accident has seriously injured an Idaho ham. Ralph Squilacci, KK6I-TB.
Robert Galindo, KE7ADT of Athol, Idaho, was critically injured when the winching cable snapped while he was working on his 40-foot crank-up tower, resulting in the loss of his right hand and several fingers on his left hand. The 52-year-old Galindo was trapped and left hanging 20 feet up in the air when rescue crews arrived at his home. Timberlake Fire Protection District officials say that it took rescuers another 20 minutes to raise the upper tower sections and to extricate Galindo.
KE7ADT was flown by Life Flight helicopter to the Kootenai Health Center in Coeur d'Alene, where he underwent more than 4 hours of surgery, and at last report was listed in critical condition following the operation. Please be safe when working on any antenna or tower project, and we wish Mr. Galindo a speedy recovery. A pair of young hams in Colorado have brought that state's dormant AMSAT net back to life. Here's a voice you may recognize.
15-year-olds Skylar Fennell, KD0WHB, and Jordan Walters, KD0MLV, have reestablished the Colorado AMSAT net. The purpose of this net is to discuss anything related to satellites. Topics include informative bulletins on active satellites, as well as when they will be passing over the area. After hearing their enthusiasm on the Colorado Astronomy Net, its control station, Bernice Ansel, KI0AR, encouraged the two teams to pick up the AMSAT net's operation. And while the AMSAT net is only a few weeks old, its popularity is already growing. In fact, internet listeners have been tuning in from as far as Florida. One of the ongoing topics has been if net members have ever made contact through a satellite, and if so, what antenna was used. The net operations also stands by at times so that members can go outside and view the International Space Station passing overhead. For the Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Amanda Alden, Key 1 DDN in Canyon City, Colorado.
It's nice to have Amanda on the Amateur Radio Newsline.
Hey, Amanda.
The Colorado AMSAT net takes place every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. local mountain time. And if you'd like to listen or check in, connect to All-Star Node 29298 or 29436. Operation in Canyon City, Colorado is via the Rocky Mountain Radio League repeater, and that frequency is 14694. And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news, brought to you each and every week for over 35 years and counting at www.arnewsline.org. I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW 73. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation.
But hey, Don, 14694. All I have is blue purple channel 5. Can you tell me where that is?
Yeah, it's at the bottom of this right here. You need to drink more of this, and then you'll find it.
Oh, okay.
See?
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Sapphire.
Don.
I'm on the Sapphire channel. So, yeah, I don't know about letters and stuff. All I know is numbers. I know 14694, and I know, 14427, and I know that. I don't know Sapphire Green Charlie Alpha 2. I don't know nothing about that, but I do know about smoke and solder, and I bet you George up there in Jackson does too. It's a little warmer down here. Are you going to be in the 20s tonight? We're at 43 right now.
Yeah, it's it's in the 30s right now. It's probably about 36 out there. Kind of chilly for us, and I think maybe 26 tonight, which is it's almost March. It's time for all this to be over.
I know. Mardi Gras next week.
Oh yeah, yep, sure is, and they'll be doing some celebrating for that around here too. Well, this week I didn't warm up the soldering iron because it was nice and warm out there, but I did make a little visit, do a little maintenance over the weekend, so I thought I would just show you what I did. Today I had an occasion to visit a transmitter site that I maintain, and I thought I'd bring you along and we'd take a look at some of the things out here. Down here at the bottom of the rack, we've got a power conditioner. This is more or less just a filter. Over here on the left-hand side, we've got a cable telephone modem. We've got two Comcast modems here. There's two Comcast lines that run internet out to this site. We would have preferred to have one Comcast and an AT&T, but AT&T just couldn't get DSL to work out here. Here's the remote control unit right here. This is controlled over the telephone to turn the transmitter on or off, or reduce or increase power, and take meter readings. Up above here, we've got the Optimod 9400. This is the processing unit that does compression and limiting and preparation of the signal before it goes on the air. This right here is a tie line unit. This is an IP codec. It's connected to those two Comcast lines down there. There's another unit like this at the studio, and these two connect up to each other, and that's how it gets audio from the studio site out here to the transmitter. And it also returns audio off the air from here back to the studio site. Now you might ask, what happens if you lose internet connectivity at one of the sites? Well, that's why we've got this unit right here. This is a tie line Patriot codec. It runs over a dial-up phone line, so that's our backup STL method, or studio transmitter link. Up here above is a BLAR modulation monitor, and that's how we check the modulation on the station. Now over here to this side is something that every ham would like to have. This is a 10 kilowatt solid-state AM transmitter. We've got our forward and reflected meters up here, as well as we can measure the AC voltage coming in. A status panel to show us what's going on with the transmitter. Built-in modulation meter here. And power controls for several different ranges of powers, as well as the off button. And then an adjustment of the power up or down a little from whatever mode it's in. Here's the tuning and the loading for the output stage right here. And down below that are these PA modules. Now this one's got 10 PA modules in it. Each one will supply 1 kW, and they all combine together to produce the 10 kW. There's status lights on it too that tell us the condition of each module. Isn't this what you'd like to see in your transmitter site?
Oh, yeah.
A power meter that goes up to 12 kW. And if we look down here at the reflected meter, we can see it's very low, just about 5 or 6 watts there. Now, of course, if you've got a transmitter, you're going to need an antenna for it. So here's the tower right here, and this is just a guide insulated tower. And the transmitter feeds into a tuning network at the bottom of it. So the tower itself is the antenna. I hope you've enjoyed this little transmitter site tour. This is a 10 kilowatt AM daytimer station. It sounds off the air at sunset every day. It's on 1120, same frequency as KMOX, so they have to shut down at night to provide protection for that station. Now, during the day, though, it's got a really good signal. You know, other sites will look a little different than this. This one has fairly modern equipment to it, and it's been taken care of, so we don't have that many problems with it. You know, I'll occasionally get that call and have to run out here because it's off the air due to a power failure, internet failure, or transmitter, or just about any piece of gear, you know, could take a station off the air. So we have as many backups as possible to avoid that situation. See you next time. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing that. That station is, like I said, it's a 10 kilowatt AM daytimer. It's, it's pretty reliable. He's got nice gear out there, and it's owned by a ham, W5. I can't even think of his call sign right now. W5TWZ. The station call sign is WTWZ. So, Terry, nice setup there, and I'm glad we got to share it with some of our viewers tonight. A lot of fun. Gordo, what do you think? Do we need one of those amplifiers?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe just one drawer full. That would give us, 5 kW out? That would be good. A little over the limit, but still it would be fun.
Well, you need a little headroom. That's just called headroom there. So anyway, great fun there. And, that's the only station I really take care of now, and I do that on the side, and I really enjoy keeping my hand a little bit in the broadcast engineering community. And it's not like when I was doing it 40 hours a week. I kind of got burned out back then, but it's great fun now. Well, last week I asked a question: what type of message for a third party in another country may be transmitted by an amateur station? And this came from the Amateur Radio General Class License Exam. The possible answers: A, any message as long as the operator is not paid. B, only messages from other licensed amateurs. C, only messages related to amateur radio or remarks of a personal character, or messages related to emergencies or disaster relief, or D, any message as long as the text of the message is recorded in the station log. Well, the answers were all over the board this week. Apparently, people didn't remember that from the exam very well because the answer was A. And the lucky winner was Don, K9JYX. Congratulations, Don. We're going to be sending you this MFJ male SMA telescopic antenna for your handy-talkie. It's 2 meters or 440. You just pull it out whatever length you need for the band there. And for next week, we're going to be giving away one of these Heil Ham Radio handbooks, the second edition by a guy named Bob Heil, K9EID. Some of you may have heard of him before. If you'd like to win this, then answer this question. An inductor is often called a choke or a coil, but what's a name commonly used for it when it's in an AM transmitter? And if you think you know the answer, email it to me at hamnationcontest@gmail.com, and you could be next week's lucky winner. So right now, I think it's time that we get a message from our friends over at ICOM. ICOM America and ICOM Canada are teaming up to offer ham radio operators some incredible savings. You can get a great deal on a D-Star repeater direct from ICOM and help expand D-Star across North America. For a limited time, ICOM is offering a Buy Direct D-Star promotion for U.S. and Canadian residents. Purchase a D-Star repeater through the D-Star Infrastructure Program. The growth of D-Star over the past 4 years has been incredible, with the release of the ID51A and the IC7100. More people are getting on the air with this incredible mode. In response to the request to make the infrastructure more affordable, ICOM America and ICOM Canada are teaming up to expand the number of repeaters. Hurry! This Buy Direct promotion is good for a limited time. Download the mail order form, fill it out, and send it in by mail, fax, or email today. Find out what all the D-Star fun is about. Visit ICOMAmerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM's Buy Direct program. And you can tune in to win after each episode of Ham Nation. Go to ICOMAmerica.com/HamNation and throw your name in the hat to win some great swag prizes from the ICOMSwagStore.com or the February grand prize. And that's going to be an ICOM IC80AD, a dual band VHF UHF handy-talkie with 5 watts of power, D-Star digital voice, wideband receive, and more. So go to ICOMAmerica.com/HamNation after the show today and register to win. And right now, I think it's time we go over to the Yellow Brick Road and check in with Dale.
Well, hi there, George. Thanks a lot. Enjoyed the Smoke and Solder one more time. Tonight here with the video segment, we've got the first of a 5-part series featuring mobile HF operation, having fun with hunting power line noise, and a new Ham's Choice Award winner. Let's jump right in now to the first installment of a 5-part series that gives you the information you need when considering HF mobile operation. Dan, N9LVS, is producing the videos. He kicks it off with the ins and outs of mobile HF antennas.
It's titled Mobile Antennas. Most HF mobile antennas use some kind of coil. Some of them are base-loaded, with the coil at the bottom, and some are center-loaded, with the coil in the middle. Very few amateurs realize how important overall length is. Radiation resistance is based on electrical length and how the RF current flows over that length. A full-size quarter wave antenna has radiation resistance of 36 ohms. If we have the length, 1/8 wave, the radiation resistance drops to 9 ohms. Have it again, 1/16 wave, and the radiation resistance is just 2 ohms. If the resistive losses were fixed at 10 ohms, Simple math will tell you the efficiency rating. The calculated efficiency would be 22%, 2%, and just over 1% respectively, assuming there were no other losses present. There will be, of course, because the shorter overall length, the larger the loading coil inductance has to be. So let's get to the meat and potatoes. Short and stubby HF antennas seemingly have become all the rage. Their popularity in part due to their small size, typically less than 7 feet overall, lightweight, apparent ease of mounting, and spousal approval rating. But the story on stubby antennas is, in fact, these are the least efficient HF mobile antennas that you can buy. Its mechanical and electrical aspects are also questionable, as is its operating methodology. There are about 75 different manufacturers of screwdriver antennas. Some copy, some improve on the basic idea, some are just marketed a little better. Quality-wise, remote-controlled antennas run the gamut, from poor to excellent, and price isn't always an indicator. Further, they all come in several different overall lengths and power ratings. The advantage of a screwdriver antenna is its typical 9 to 11 foot whip. There are a bunch of swirly wound antennas on the market. Some are fairly good, others aren't worth the effort. All swirly wound antennas are low in efficiency. Their Qs are about 50 or less. A few of the 80 meter models have Qs of less than 10. If you really want a lossy antenna, use one with a stubby 3 foot long whip. Their only attribute is lightweight and low wind load, which means that they can attach to any type of mount. Efficiency ranges between 0.3% and 20%, and they typically don't need matching networks, as the system losses bring the impedance down to near 50 ohms. Monoband antennas are limited in so many ways. They're not really a wise first choice. There are a few varieties of monoband antennas still out there, but not a whole lot of choice in the marketplace nowadays. One manufacturer has a spider that you can make a monoband antenna into a multiband antenna. Monoband antennas, due to their construction, are very hard to tune in the field. Bug catcher antennas are big, ugly, and have fallen out of favor, perhaps for obvious reasons. Besides being big, they're ugly, cumbersome, costly, a nemesis to tune, have excessive wind load. They can, however, be the most efficient of the mobile antennas if they're mounted correctly and the correct size coil is selected. The whip typically used for a bug catcher is a 102-inch standard CB whip. Coil diameters vary from 3-inch to 8-inch. Some caution should be exercised when selecting a loading coil, as a larger loading coil does not necessarily mean a higher Q than a smaller one. Just for the record, it is all but impossible to achieve a loading coil Q of over 350. There are also other varieties of mobile antennas in the marketplace today, but these are the major ones. So is there a perfect mobile antenna for HF? Not really. Every single mobile antenna out there has its downfalls and its low efficiency. So should we give up on HF Mobile? No, I don't think so. HF Mobile can be a lot of fun. You just got to realize the deck you're playing with. So have fun running HF Mobile, and we'll catch you on the band. 7.3s from N9LVS.
Good.
Well, thanks, Dan. And we really appreciate the job you're doing maintaining our hamnationvideos.info website. Well, we have a brand new club website of the week tonight. It's kvarc.org. Let's take a look at the site, sponsored by the Call Valley Amateur Radio Club. Their club station is W0CET. They're located in Topeka in Kansas. That's www.kvarc.org. The site was nominated by Doug Dutton. He's WD0DBS. He told us he likes everything about it. Site was designed by George Phoenix, KD0RII. The site is resource heavy, and you'll find links to dozens of technical documents providing information on nearly every segment of amateur radio. Additionally, the resource files are well indexed. Give it a spin, www.kvarc.org, and make sure you send an email to hamnationvideos@twit.tv to nominate your favorite club website. Well, let's wrap up tonight's videos with a short clip from Al LaFon. He's in 3IZR, lives in Hedgeville, West Virginia. He set out to show us how finding RFI is fun in Back Creek Valley, West Virginia.
As you can see, I got a pretty severe electrical interference here on 6 meters. I'll have to get the name of this road. I believe it's coming from either this pole or this pole. Number on this pole, I doubt if you can pick it up in this video. I'm having a hard time reading it. M27875. That pole over there is buried in the weeds, and I'm not about to climb into it. Well, shoot me. It's Calvary Hill Road, not Chapel. As you can see, there's the poles there. There's the other pole over there. Not this one in the foreground, the one in the two in the background.
There's a reason Al's out hunting noisy power poles. Let's listen to it.
Well, it's February 17th, 11 a.m. 10 meters, a lovely amount of noise to put up with. It's amazing how PSC and Potomac Edison says I don't have any more problems here.
Well, Al says it's been a slow road since there's so many bad poles near his home, and especially since in the past the local power company has only fixed one pole at a time. Well, it's time now to award the January winner of the Ham's Choice Award, and with 30% of the vote, the winning video was Propagation 101, and that was produced by Dan Van Evenhoven in 9LVS. Dan will be receiving the HF Specialty Pack CD from CQ Magazine, and that CD is courtesy of our Ham's Choice Award sponsor, Mark. He's KB0MOF, and he runs the Ham Radio Center in Derby. Well, 2 videos tied for runners-up honors. WFLD Channel 32, The Blizzard of 67, and W1AW Slant 4, North Carolina. Both of those videos had 18% of the vote. Voting will start next week for the most popular video broadcast during the month of February. And don't forget to vote. And remember, the award-winning producer will receive this book, Storm Spotting for Amateur Radio, also courtesy of Mark down at the Ham Radio Center. Well, send your videos and shack photos to Ham Nation Videos at twit.tv, and we'll get them on Ham Nation for you. Next week, I'll be delivering a guest lecture at the journalism school at the University of Kansas, so Dan in 9LVS will be setting in for me during the video segment. He'll be armed with part 2 of that 5-part mobile series. And that's it for tonight. Have a great week. Cheryl's up next with questions from the chat room. But first, let's check in with Don, find out what's hot at DX Engineering. Don, take it away.
There's a lot of stuff hot at DX Engineering. I love Dan Van Evenhoven's video on the mobile antennas. And whether you're talking about mobile antennas or even antennas for a fixed station, it's all a compromise. But there's one thing that they all have in common: cable. Your shack is only as efficient as the cable that ties it all together. Now, back in the good old days, mass-produced cable was sketchy at best, and doing it right meant you have to make your own. Well, not anymore. DX Engineering coax cable assemblies are made to rigid specs. They are fully tested to guarantee optimum performance. There are a ton of different assembly types and lengths available, and you can see the whole list at dxengineering.com. They use 400 max low-loss cable that has a gas-injected foam dielectric and polyethylene jacket for long outside runs. Also, the 8U cable, it gives you excellent efficiency in indoor use. They have the 8X cable. It's a perfect alternative to RG8X or Mini 8. It's small and efficient. And also the 213U coax is well suited to direct burial applications. And if you have long runs to your antenna, that's the perfect cable for it. And you can get any of these cables in made-to-order assemblies. Each assembly has weather-sealed PL259 connections. They are silver-plated. And yes, they have the Teflon PTFE dielectric insulators. The connectors are 360-degree machine crimped for maximum electrical connectivity. Depending on the assembly, the center pins are hand soldered for reliability, and you can get them in any length from 3 feet to 200 feet, whatever you need. And every assembly is inspected to give you the highest quality in the industry. They're high-pot tested. That means they'll withstand full legal limit power for your fire in the wire. 50 and 75 ohm phasing cable assemblies are available as well. The RG8X BNC coaxial cable assemblies, designed for moderate power VHF, UHF stations, and those BNCs make it really easy to connect and disconnect. They're perfect for portable and mobile installations, or even short in-shack jumper cables. The BNCs are machine crimped as well, give you precise mechanical and electrical connections. Flexible jackets make it easier to install, and 2 to 50-foot links are available in those. Here's what you want to do. If you want to grab any of this gear, get your order in by 10 p.m. Eastern. If it's in stock, it will go on a truck tonight. That's right. DX Engineering will put everything you need on a truck headed your way tonight. Proven products, expert advice, the fastest shipping in the industry. DX Engineering is truly helping you shrink the globe. The catalog is available. You can also shop online 24/7 at dxengineering.com/hamnation. dxengineering.com/hamnation. They're doing good things over there, and they're doing good things with and for Ham Nation, and we do appreciate DX Engineering and everything that they do for us. And Cheryl, I understand, saw in the chat room that she's got a touch of the flu tonight, so she's not going to be with us, but we'll muddle on. Yes, sir.
Don, Gordo, we just changed out 100 feet of coax over to DX Engineering coax, and the operator went, oh, my God, I'm hearing so much more. Well, take a look at the old coax and notice that the jacket has pulled back, and literally water poured into the coax, dripped all the way down, and pooled at the base of that station's operating position. So let me tell you, the DX Engineering coax with that good heat shrinked around the jacket really made a difference. Boy, that's great coax. Back to you, Don.
I bet you that hunk of coax you just showed has a foam dielectric, which, of course, will soak up all that water, and it will change the impedance and everything else about that coax. And yeah, you're all you're going to be doing is boiling water in there. You're not going to be putting any signal out to the antenna. So yeah, the coax makes all the difference in the world, and it's got to be sealed. And when you put those things up on your tower, make sure that you seal them up with the coax seal and the tape and everything else. I've even seen guys use that aluminum flashing tape like you would use on I don't know, plumbing or whatever, to put the coax seal on and then put the aluminum tape over that. And then put electrical tape over that, and anything you can do to keep the water out of there is what you want to do for sure. Bob, any guidance on that?
Yeah, I would probably just get the DX Engineering coax because they make up the cables and they do a fabulous job. And Cheryl had sent me down a response from last week's show where we talked about hum and station grounds. This one comes from Jim, KC9BUL. He solved his problem of his amplified JBL speakers humming when he put them onto his sometimes grounded or non-grounded ham rig, and he was able to solve it by going to Radio Shack. They told him, we used to carry them, but we don't have them anymore. Small little isolation transformers, and he finally got them through the folks at a main trading company down in Texas. They bought evidently a whole bunch of the Radio Shack ones. He's got like 25 of them. He put them on each of the JBL twin lead speakers, completely solved the problem because as a transformer, it's AC to AC on the primary and secondary with no DC hum getting through. Hey, Bob, is that a pretty good idea, those small little isolation transformers?
Of course. The other fix is what I showed you a few weeks ago, just the ground lift. You've got to remove the ground from one of them. You can't ground everything. It's a question in the chat room again tonight. I don't want to get into this, guys, because it always gets flamed because you don't understand this. Nobody really understands it that I know. But here's the deal. You cannot have a ground loop. And so, yes, you have to ground it. That's the thing. I get so many flames. Oh, Heil, you're an idiot. You told us to remove the grounds. I did not. You ground everything one time. And so everything is grounded here. But when you put the coax to the chassis, the amplifier to the transceiver, you ground it all, you've got a ground loop. And that's what happened to his JBL speakers. They came out of the receiver with a shielded cable. Then they plugged it into the AC with that third pin ground. You got a ground loop. Remove it. Remove one of them. And when you do that, everything has a place to go back to ground, but not two directions. If you have different directions, then you have a ground loop because this one is more resistance than this one. And you get these tremendous magnetic forces fighting each other. And it's real simple. Like he said, you can use a transformer, AC transformer, or one of the ground lifts, but you don't put it on everything. You just have to think about the coax and the speaker shields, or mic shields, whatever. They're all grounded to one thing only, the fuse box ground. And that's the answer. And it is a piece of science. It's not dangerous. You have to make sure that you get all of the grounds perfectly done through one. And then you got it. I had a really cool question here. Gordo, I'm going to give you something to think about. Mike wants to know if he takes his G5RV and puts it up around his house, it's kind of a semi-permanent thing. He's going to make a U out of his antenna. Is it going to work? He's going to be able to stretch it out all the way. But what would you say about that, Gordo?
Well, first of all, he's got to contend with the rain gutter that, if it's made out of aluminum, will completely detune the G5RV. And anytime you run a loop or a G5RV or even a simple dipole antenna around the eaves of your house, you're right next to every noisemaker within the house, every dimmer switch, every computer, every pest alarm, and every fluorescent light. He's going to maybe have an okay transmit signal if he's up on the second story eaves, but on receive, he will hear nothing but about a 20/9 S unit. He's got to get that antenna clear of the house, clear of anything metal, up high, and then it'll play on the eaves. Too much noise from the house within.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It has to happen. Hey, George, what's your take on handy talkies only being limited to 5 watts? Do you have an answer for why they do that?
Well, I don't have an official answer, but my guess would be 2 things. One is the amount of power it's going to drain off the batteries. If it's more than 5 watts, then you know it's not going to last as long. And the other is possibly RF exposure to the operator.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is it battery life? I think it's a big deal. That's, I think, the number one deal. So that kind of answers why they keep that down to 5 watts. And I had a Chip asked me a good question, and one of my favorite things are crystals. And he asked, if you have a crystal, the old radios, and you want to change the frequency of it, you can. You remove the little screws. And let's get over here and see if you can see this. This is pretty cool. We did it for years, and still doing it. If you, oh yeah, you got to make sure the spring doesn't get lost. There's a spring is going to jump out. But here's what you got to do, guys and gals. You go inside here and start carefully lifting the copper plate that, of course, does the whole thing. And there's going to be 2 small plates, and in between them is a piece of crystal. And you can take that and lay it on a nice clean surface. I used to use toothpaste, believe it or not, and a toothbrush. And you can change the frequency. You also, if you want to add up in frequency, good old pen works. Pencil. Yeah. What do you think, Gordo? That right?
Yeah. Smiling face will put you lower in frequency if it's an X-cut crystal, and a little Ipana toothpaste will put you higher in frequency because it'll shave a little bit off. Hey, Bob, I got to go. We're getting ready for the incoming weather, and we're going to an emergency communicators meeting tonight. So I'm going to say goodbye to all the Ham Nation viewers and to Don and George and Dale and you, Bob, Barry 73. Cheryl, we hope you get well quick, and I'll see you next week after the rainstorm, 73.
Mark your calendar, Gordo. Mark your calendar. Hey, have a good time tonight, and I know everybody learns from your knowledge. That's a great thing. Hey, George, are you playing with any SDR stuff?
Bob, I have. I'm not currently doing it, but I've built about 3 soft rocks over here. And those are the homemade ones. I don't have, a commercial SDR other than maybe they would call the IC 7700 an SDR in some respects, but I don't think that's what we're actually talking about. Have you played with yours yet, Bob?
No, I really haven't gotten all hooked up yet, but I've had some questions. There's one in the chat room tonight, ironically enough. I was on the air a while ago, and it seemed like everybody's having great luck with our PR781, and the reason for this microphone on SDR, it has a lot of output. And some of the SDRs don't have really good preamps in the microphone preamps, so that really works great. But I wondered if you got your stuff all going. We've got to get that all happening, and it's right here. I just have to get some time. I need to get JD to come down here and hook it up for me. He's a good Apple guy. That's the big problem, is I don't have a really good program for Apple to make it happen. Well, I think we answered most of the questions. Thanks, everybody, for being here tonight. We're going to be here next week with the really great show with Doug Grant, K1DG. He's the head of the WRTC, and it's the Olympics of ham radio that will occur in July. He'll be back from the actual setup of that in July. It just works out on the program that night in July. That's going to be really fascinating because these are people from around the world, and they go to one location and part of the country, and they set all these. I think there's 12 stations, but you'll learn all about it next week. If you don't know about the WRTC, when you hear Doug talking about it, you're going to go, whoa, it really is the Olympics of ham radio. And it's going to be fascinating to hear about it. So we're really glad that Doug's going to give us a little time next week. Well, that's what we got from here. Anything else, Don, that's going on in your neck of the woods?
I don't think so. Oh, tonight on Nashville, which actually started about 20 minutes ago, if you're DVRing that, one of the amateur radio newsline guys is acting in Nashville tonight. He's the preacher who is officiating over the funeral. So if you're watching that on your DVR, you might want to check that out.
Oh, I'll be darned. Okay, we will do that. Well, we'll see you next week, Don, and make sure you have fun this week, and I know you will, of course. And always. George, we'll catch you on 75 maybe after a while. And
okay, Bob.
We're going to have a net. Sorry that Cheryl's sick tonight, but we're going to have a net, and Jeff's going to take over there, so we'll be on 3847 with a whole bunch of folks. Also, Steve's going to be on 7 UDI out on the West Coast on 20 meters. And, of course, good old Mike and Al will be on the 7268 or 78. Depends on what's going on frequency-wise. So look around a little bit. You won't miss them because there'll be pile-ups. And we thank everybody for making all this happen and making this particular part of the TWIT network very popular. And Leo, thanks all of you. I got a nice phone call from him today, and it's really good to hear from the man. And we're going to have him on again soon. He said he's going to get some time, so look out. 7-3, everybody. We're going to see you on the air in just a little, and we'll be right back here next week with some more programming and having fun. In the meantime, have fun, keep your old tubes and your transistors warm, and we'll go from there. 7-3, everybody. From the Ozarks, this is K9EID. Bye-bye for now.